Randa Ghazy is the regional media manager for the Middle East, North Africa and Eastern Europe at Save the Children and joins us live now from London. Randa, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. As we were hearing there, UNICEF saying that more than 300,000 children under the age of 5 are at risk of acute malnutrition. It's undeniable the situation is dire and children once again are the ones suffering the most. It's heartbreaking for anybody.
Yeah, the situation in Gaza is catastrophic, and children are paying the heaviest price. Let's just think of the numbers. Like 80% of global famine is now in Gaza. Nearly all children in Gaza are at imminent risk of famine. And we're hearing horrible stories of families forced to skip meals each day. They cannot find essential items like flour. They have to stand in lines for hours to try and get some bread. And the situation is getting more and more desperate. And of course, we know that there is a triple threat there because there is an absolute shortage of food aid reaching them. But there's also the cold weather, the absence of clean water and sanitation facilities. And all these elements combined are increasing cases of disease for children, like respiratory infections, diarrhea, skin diseases, meningitis. They're all on the rise. So children are paying the heaviest price, and the lack of food aid reaching them is making them even more vulnerable. And so there is really the risk of bombs, of airstrikes, but also they're at risk of dying of starvation. And let us remember that starvation of civilians as a method of warfare is prohibited under international humanitarian law.
And Randa, UNICEF also pleading to international communities for life-saving support. But even if they do provide it, how does it get in at the moment?
Well, that is exactly the problem. First of all, the violence has not allowed humanitarian agencies to distribute aid. And what is entering Gaza is a drop in the ocean, really. We're really at 15% of the pre-war levels. So the area's crossing is closed. We know that for security reasons for 3 days. Also, the Kerem Shalom crossing didn't allow any aid. There are items that are being prohibited from entering, including flour. So we need unfettered humanitarian access. We need these aid convoys not to be targeted, not to be bombed for aid to reach children in need.
There's also a lot of concern, Randa, that if there is this successful evacuation of the 1.4 million people currently in Rafah, where do they go if that evacuation is indeed successful, where there will be the infrastructure available to them and the water supplies that they desperately need? Where's left?
Let us be clear here. There's nowhere safe left in Gaza. There is nowhere to go. The north has no services, no water. All that is left is rubble and unexploded devices. It's unlivable. Rafah is absolutely crammed with people, squeezed into an area that is the size of Heathrow Airport. There are people sleeping in the streets. Other areas like Al-Mawasi also lack the aid and the space for all these people. So there is nowhere left to go for families, for children in Gaza. They have been forcibly displaced multiple times. They've been told to go to what were called or designated as safe areas like Rafah. And these have proven to be just really like deadly areas. So civilians have been trapped now for months. There's nowhere safe to go. And the only way to save lives, to protect civilians and children in Gaza, is a definitive ceasefire.
Randa, thank you very much for speaking to us. Randa Ghazy there from Save the Children.